everyone. Welcome to Her Frame of Mind. This series is crafted with women's experience at its heart, mothers to be, those who have chosen to remain child free, and anyone navigating the unique mental health challenges that come with these journeys. At the same time, it's a resource for everyone partners, friends, fathers, brothers, because understanding these perspectives do help us grow at the end of the day. I'm your host, Meenu, and today, in this episode, we will dive into emotional preparedness for pregnancy and childbirth. Society often talks about physical aspects of motherhood. We all know that. But what about the emotional readiness that it takes, right? So, joining us today is Dr. Preeti from Therapy, who will help us
Hi.
unpack these complexities and understand the mental health journey better because knowing her frame of mind matters. Okay, Dr. Preeti,
Yes.
how are you today?
Okay, let's start.
Yeah.
I've been good. I've been good. How are you, Minu?
I'm great. I'm great. I'm really excited to start this podcast actually because we've been
Yes,
thinking
me
about
too.
this for quite some time now. Yeah.
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 And it's a very personal topic for me as well, given that
Oh, how come?
I have a 2.5-year-old at home. We are bang into the toddler phase, and there are a lot of realizations that have come
Yeah,
in
yeah.
these 2.5 years. So I'm excited to get started.
Okay, let's get right into it. So that we
Yeah.
can make it crisp, we can make it informative, and for everyone who's
Yes,
listening here.
yes,
All right. So
absolutely.
my first question here is going to be, what do you think is the most important thing to keep in mind while planning to have a child?
So, what I have felt personally, as well as when I have spoken to so many mothers in
Mm-hmm.
my practice, one of the things that people do not talk about as much, since we are talking about, how society doesn't. So, there are so many things that society doesn't really tell us, and we're going to dive a little more into it in a while. But one of the things that we absolutely need to keep in mind when we are thinking about pregnancy, childbirth, child rearing, parenting is the not only the financial
Mm.
aspect of it, because that is something that a lot of people plan a lot. Do
Yeah,
we
yeah,
have enough finances? Do we have enough? Will we have enough to take care of the child and the
yeah.
family financially? What people don't think about is, are we emotionally prepared for what is to come? And what I mean by that is, I'll start with an example here.
Mm, mm,
So, for example, and this could be a little controversial, Meenu,
mm,
because, when you are thinking about getting pregnant, when you're thinking about childbirth,
mm.
nobody, for example, thinks about the very, very real possibility that the child could be born with a disability,
I know. Yeah, yeah. That's such a big
you know?
problem in our society
Yes,
right now. Yeah.
right? And because we don't think that way,
Mm,
because that kind of thought is not encouraged, in the
mm,
sense किसी के दिमाग में भी नहीं आएगा. People are not
yeah,
even going
yeah.
to imagine that, oh, okay, this is another way that I can think of this whole
Right,
thing.
right.
What often happens, because I have had, in my practice, I have dealt with a lot of, parents with with children who have neurodiversities and things like that. So that is where my information is coming from.
Mm,
That because you are not prepared for disability, because you're not prepared for, say, a chronic illness, because you're not
mm,
prepared for all the possible but very real
mm.
negatives that could come with, bringing new life on this planet, a lot of time goes in just accepting that this is an issue.
Right.
Whereas if you're already, you get what I mean, right? If
Yeah,
you're already prepared,
yeah.
you're like, it is still going to come as a huge shock, and like one of the worst fears of a parent, and that is 100% valid. But if you're prepared for this
Mm,
emotionally, even a
mm.
bit, if you're mentally prepared that, okay, this is a possibility, it does give you that much more, time, because you will take lesser time accepting, and you will spend that much more time in figuring out what to do and how to give this child the best chance at life.
Definitely, because
This is
while
one of.
yeah, sorry for interrupting.
Yeah, go on,
Please
go
go
on, go
ahead.
on. That's okay.
because while the parent is taking time to accept that this is happening, the child is still growing, and the child's
Yes,
emotional needs
yes.
are not going to be met because there are parents who are not able to emotionally accept that this is happening.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. 100%. So while this is one aspect, another thing, but then this I would say it's a very specific thing about about childbirth that people don't like. We don't know when we are thinking about having a child. The other thing is, say we do not talk about neurodiversity, we do not talk about any other disability. Just the whole emotional toll that and the resilience that is required to deal with a child who is, say, for example, between the 18 and 24 month period, the 18 to 24 month period is one of the worst sleep-wise. Okay, I'll tell you my experience. That was a period when I had to wake up at 1 o'clock in the night. She would cry on my shoulders for 2 continuous hours and then take another hour to fall back asleep. And during that time, I couldn't sit, I couldn't lay her down on the bed. So for 3 hours, I would be rocking her on my shoulder. Okay,
So
nobody talks to us about. Yes, standing with that weight in my arms. My left arm is actually stronger than my right arm,
The workout.
Yes, the workout. And when I look back, she's 2.5 right now. When I look back now, it sounds funny. But there were days when we had these things because of the sleep regression, because of intense developmental changes that are happening. There's the language leap that is happening. All of these things are taking place in her brain. It is quite natural for her. It's biologically normal for her to have issues with sleeping. Right. But nobody told me.
Yeah.
Nobody told me that this is going to happen and that you will have to do this. People talk about the fact that, oh, your sleep is going to be disturbed. Oh, this is going to happen. Oh, that is going to happen. Oh, you will probably, you'll probably be fighting more with your partner. But how much more?
Yeah, the intensity.
How much more? What is the intensity? What do you talk about resentment? What is the kind of resentment that each will develop against the other?
Yeah.
I'm doing this much and you're doing this. Who talks about these comparisons and the resentment that comes from these comparisons? So I'm talking about the absolute nitty-gritties of parenting a little one and then a growing toddler and child till they start going to school. That is going to have its own problems. The first 2, 3, 4 years of life, when a child is heavily dependent on you, the amount of emotional resilience that it takes to actually take care of your child in a way, and I should mention it here, I think it's very important, in a way that ensures that you are not transferring generational trauma to your child.
Very important.
That takes a lot of effort.
Yeah. And that's a lot of responsibility. That's one entire human being, their personality, a lot of things, right? It's going to be on nurture.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of responsibility.
Yeah. So how much resilience it takes to, when your child is screaming and throwing a tantrum and for seemingly no reason. I mean, I'm sure there is a reason for her. There's always a reason behind a tantrum for a child, and as a child development specialist, I know that. But as a mother, the amount of resilience that it takes to not scream at her in that moment, to just keep telling myself the things that I teach other people, that it's harder for her than it is for me, it's harder for her than it is for me. But what it takes out of me, the amount of drainage that is happening emotionally, right? Nobody talks to us about this. Nobody talks to potential mothers. Nobody talks to new mothers and fathers, I think, also.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of people are just afraid of telling somebody this because they think that they'll just get overwhelmed. But the problem is that they are not understanding that it's not just about overwhelm, but about preparedness. So you can choose to just be informed about it, be prepared, and do the rest of it. Anyway, if you want a child, You have to do these things. So might as well get all the information that you can.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there are so many things that, the society is not telling us. What else does it not tell us about parenthood?
So, another thing that just came to my mind is it's an interesting idea that you just said that, you said that people don't tell us, like seasoned parents would not share these kind of things, probably because it'll be too overwhelming for somebody who's planning or somebody who's just become a parent. Another idea is that if you look at the larger aspect of, society, and forget society, evolutionarily, because like the aim of any species is to reproduce and procreate and just make sure that the species moves ahead. Society has interestingly seen to have found like a great way to ensure that reproduction continues, because look at this idea, hear me out. If and especially in today's day and age, where there is so much information and there are so many options and there is so much empowerment that people are going through, if this was what the general parlance was in society, that this is hard and you need to be prepared for this before you decide, so make sure that you have whatever, so that's a very negative kind of anxiety ridden kind of a view of this whole thing. Most people would probably choose not to have children. And then like the population would reduce, and then that could, again, this is just an idea that I've had and I've discussed with my partner multiple times, but it could be this, that अगर हम तुमको बताते हैं, then it goes against the whole idea कि बच्चा कर लो. How the moment people are married, there is this inherent pressure that you have to do this, and there's another thing. I think as people, as professionals in the mental health field, we have faced this often, and we have dealt with families and clients who have these kinds of ideas often, where this this idea is propagated especially by the elders of society, and especially if the marriage is not going so well, that if you have a child, everything is going to get better.
I've heard about this so much in sessions, so much, in my extended family. This is not something, at least I can count 10 different times I've heard this in close quarters.
Yeah.
And that's so concerning.
And so exactly. So then when we are thinking about all of this emotional preparedness and this and that, okay, and on top of that, there is a bad marriage. On top of that, there is pressure from elders, from people in the family, from society to have a child, because apparently things are going to get better just after you have a child. Whereas in our experience in this field, we have seen for ourselves that things actually become worse, not only for the parents, but then now there is this new life that also didn't deserve all of this.
Yeah, definitely. So you have added one entire human being into the mix of emotional turmoil. Yeah. So what you're saying is, when the society is constantly, telling you that you should have a child, you are supposed to do this, and, this is how things go, maybe that they are not getting people prepared or telling them the harsh realities of what it could be, so that they could continue to propagate the same ideology.
Sort of. And they could continue to reproduce, just like, because apparently that is a biological need.
Yeah, got it. Very interesting. Yeah. So, how can people who are contemplating parenthood, prepare themselves for it in today's age of nuclear families?
So, one is that there is a lot of information on various platforms, not just social media, various platforms. Okay. And if you just if you just scroll through on say like one of the most common popular photo sharing apps, video reel sharing apps, you will find a lot of information about a lot of people making videos and sending reels about every idea that you can have, even though they're conflicting ideas. So then you're like, what do I do? Do I do this? Do I do this? Because this also sounds like something that I want to do. This also sounds like something I want to do. And that's, not really matching with, so how do I take a decision? Okay, because there are people who are saying, oh, you should have, say, for example, somebody already has one child, and then you will see reels where people are saying, oh, this is why you should have another child. You have to give your child a sibling and this and that. And then somebody who's contemplating whether, I want to have another child or not, or somebody who has, say, for example, taken a decision that they don't want to have another child, and there is pressure already, and then they're seeing these reels. It's difficult to not get influenced.
Absolutely, absolutely. You are looking at information at the end of the day. And when it comes to social media, when it comes to actually any source of information, people put effort to make it sound credible. So, how do we select? How do we cross check?
Exactly.
What is reliable, what is not reliable? So, understanding that itself is like the most important task when you're learning something.
Yeah. So my suggestion here for anybody who potentially wants to become a parent for the first time, or even the second time, or the third time, whatever they are contemplating, whenever they are contemplating childbirth and child rearing, I think it's important to, because now, because of the awareness and because of so many platforms that are now available, online platforms that are especially now available, that have specialists, say, for example, like our platform, like therapy, right? We have people who are actually professionally, expert in these kinds of areas. So if there is a doubt that is, say, eating into your daily routine, this is something that you're thinking about all day and you're not being able to. So if it has now started kind of making a home in your brain, in the sense that that is all that you can think about, and it is actually starting to make you feel not so nice, it's always a good idea to just like get in touch with a professional and just have a chat, because that is going to give you an absolutely unbiased space for you to discuss all your doubts, all your questions. Because if you discuss, say, with a friend, that will not come from an unbiased place. Definitely, if that friend is a parent, if that friend is not a parent, it will depend. Like the perspective is going to differ.
Personal bias is always a fact.
Yes. But with a therapist, somebody who's trained to make sure that their personal biases don't come in, you get a safe, non-judgmental space to just explore your ideas.
Yeah,
decision is ultimately going to be yours.
Yeah.
But just get in touch if you're thinking that this is an issue that you need help with, instead of only talking to friends and family and people who are, either going to pull you this way or that way. Talk to somebody who is going to just give you that, space where you can think for yourself, ask the right questions.
Definitely. And there's a lot of, the problem with approaching, let's say, a therapist or a clinical psychologist or a counselor.
Yes.
So many people have a very negative idea about it. And a lot of people, think that this is such a big step to take, that I have to, first of all, go to a place, meet someone, and explain everything. But what a lot of people don't realize that it could be none of that, but just you having a space to discuss all of it. First of all, just getting it out, no matter how controversial it would be in your mind, because when you're thinking of motherhood, sometimes you could think of things that might be preposterous to somebody,
Absolutely.
What if you don't want this child after discussing it with, your family? What if, as a woman, you are not prepared yet? So a lot of things they might not be able to say to people because they don't have a non-judgmental space.
Yeah. And then when you share with, if you share these kinds of doubts with your family or your friends or even your partner, oftentimes the response is so, like you said, judgmental, and is so, like, I have grown up hearing that people who don't want to have children are very selfish. Which is an extremely wrong notion, because somebody who doesn't want to have a child, I would say, is very self-aware.
No. Yeah.
Is very self-aware that I do not have the capacity, mental, emotional, whatever, to do justice by this person that I'm planning to bring. So why bring this person to the planet?
Definitely. When you can't give in 100%, why?
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I fully
Just
agree.
just
That's
for
the
the
first
sake
thing.
of yes, just for the sake of having a child, just because there's pressure, and then what?
So,
Because
yeah.
to be absolutely 100% honest, pregnancy is the easiest part of all of this.
Well.
Pregnancy is hard for a lot of people, especially people who have difficult pregnancies. It's hard. But if you compare, pregnancy is the easiest part. After your child is born is when all the drama starts. And then what?
Because it's not just you, it's a human being who still doesn't have any, higher brain functioning. It's all developing. Everything is still developing, and you are responsible to get that up in a healthy manner.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. So how does one take a decision in a scenario like this when they're on fence about, what to do?
Okay. I can actually share a personal experience because I have been on the fence. I have actually, wanted to be a mom ever since I can remember. Probably when I was 14, 15 is when I thought that, oh, this is something that I want to do. I've always been good with children, but and it had kind of like, as I was growing and then I became an adult and I became independent, it had kind of become an obsession that, okay, this has to happen in my life. I cannot, there's no option.
Okay.
But when we actually had to get into the whole, planning and preparing, I had to get off my medications and things like that. That is when it hit me that, okay, this is now a real possibility. And this is now I'm like, do I want to do this?
Yeah.
I never in all of these years in my life, and 14, 15 years in my life when I was planning to get pregnant, I had never imagined that I am going to have a 49-51, thing in my head about having a child versus not having a child.
Yeah.
And at one point, the 51 was about not having a child. Which hit me like a brick in the face, literally. And then the way that I decided, and then what I would also suggest is I really, really gave it a good thought. And I should also thank my education and my field, because I have been interested in this. I took up this field of study and I have done extensive study. Obviously, I won't say that everyone is expected to study so much about child rearing and all of that, but I would still say that, if you are planning, if you are even thinking, read. There is so much information that is available. There are, like I said, there are professionals that you can talk to. And another thing I think is very important to mention here: talk to new parents. Don't talk to parents of children who are 5, 6, 10, 20 years old. Because you are not going to get the right perspective. Because the experiences that I've been having now, they're going to get the idea of those experiences are going to get diluted in 10 years' time.
Definitely.
And I will probably not remember the intensity of
because life
what I have gone
happens
through.
every single day. Life happens, Yeah.
So talk to new parents. And then figure out, and this is advice that I also give my friends, those who, still haven't had children and could be thinking of, having a child. I keep telling them that, before you decide, you talk to me. And then you take a decision.
Yeah. And that's such a safe space that you provided for them.
Because that is going to give them an idea of what could come with a child.
Yeah.
It's not just a cute, little adorable. It's not that.
No.
It's this. It's a storm. Are you ready to do whatever it takes to bear the storm, to walk through the tunnel? There is light at the end of the tunnel, yes. things eventually get easier. True. I would say that as the mom of a 2.5-year-old. 2 years, twos have their own issues, threes have their own issues, all of that is there. But it gets easier. You get more and more used to this. But are you prepared for the first 2-3 years? Are you prepared for nights and nights and nights of sleeplessness? Are you prepared to become the person that anybody would become with 2.5 years, 3 years of sleep deprivation? Are you prepared to, say, for example, put your relationship with your partner on the back burner for 3 years of your life?
Yeah. That's again something that's not discussed. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And not develop resentment against each other along the way.
Yeah.
ऐसा नहीं कि चलो we put ourselves on the back burner and then like 3 years down the line or 5 years down the line, you look at each other and you don't even know who the other person is.
Yeah.
And you're so resentful towards the other person. Are you prepared to put in the work on your own when you're on your own? So your partner's there in the same house, sleeping on the same bed, possibly sleeping beside you. But you still, because of the amount of work that a baby is, that a child, a toddler is, you are going to be so tired that there will be little to no time to connect emotionally to your partner. Are you willing to hold on and be resilient enough to not develop resentment against each other for this reason?
Yeah.
So these are the things that people don't talk about. Elders don't talk to us about these things.
Yeah, because it is scary
also, because it is scary, but it's also valid because, they've had this experience long back. They probably don't even remember. Which is why this conversation is important.
Yeah.
Why we
a lot of these conversations have to happen, between friends, between family members who do not have children, whatever it is, the problem is that these conversations are just pushed aside. It's not brought into the consciousness, not brought onto the table when we are all discussing about things, right? So it should be a tabletop conversation, one of those conversations that happen. So to bring it there is why we need this podcast, why we need this discussion.
Yes. Just so that, people are like, oh, okay, people are talking about this. So that gives them the confidence to also say that I've also thought about this, but, So just like whoever's listening in, share it far and wide, share these conversations. There are more such, conversations that we are going to have. Just make sure that people know. And there is a space that is created that is more mental health friendly, that is more emotional health friendly, so that whether we decide to have a child or not, we are able to take care of ourselves mentally. And if we do decide to have a child, it is all the more important that the emotional space in the house, or the emotional environment in the house, is a healthy environment where we are bringing the child in.
So we are, like you said, we are going to have a lot of these discussions going further. We are going to talk about many things that probably, are very difficult to be brought up in conversations. So we are still only just touching the surface, So if any of you want to connect to Dr. Preeti or any of our experts, you can always reach out to us through our website, therapy.in, reach out to us on Instagram. We are there on LinkedIn, and, below the information of the podcast, we'll put all the, links to all of these pages. So please follow us. You can reach out to us at any time. We are going to be here to support through, and you just need to reach out, just ask for help.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone.
Okay. Yeah, it was a great talking to you. It's great talking to you. Bye.